I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in my early 20s and was drinking alcohol on a daily basis at the same time. It wasn't until 2 years after my diagnosis that they recognized my alcohol problem. Dual disorders are very common. About 50% of people with a mental illness also have a substance use disorder. I was not alone in that.
One of my diagnoses was that they couldn't really pinpoint my diagnosis because of my use. But after a while of being off substance, they come to find out they was treating me for schizophrenic, paranoid schizophrenic, which I'm paranoid anyway. but I mean, and it really came to find out I had depression.
Say, I'm sad, lonely, depressed. I think nobody loves me, nobody cares about me. I want to die, you know. So, because I'm feeling this way, I'm gonna say, well, maybe a bottle of vodka could take care of it. So, bam, I mix it in. Mix it in with the vodka, and then I'm feeling so good, I'm drinking 2 more beers. Maybe I'll smoke a joint. Maybe I'll grab a cigarette at the same time. Maybe I'll feel better. And then, the next day after, all your happiness and all your fun is gone, dark hole again. It sort of continues. It doesn't stop, and it gets worse.
I can remember being there, like in a hopeless dilemma where you don't think there's no way out but to use.
You know, I felt the drugs have given me, and my father, like I said, I remember going back till I was 5, you know, and it's really attacked my body, and it's, and the body's there, it's kind of attacked it, and it's part of it. So to break loose is almost an impossibility. You know, it's very tough. It's tough to break that, and you know, it's quite a struggle.
Once someone recognized my substance use disorder, I didn't get sober right away. It took me several tries. Part of the problem was that there wasn't anything like integrated treatment when I was ill. I had a substance abuse counselor for my alcohol problem, I had a psychiatrist for my bipolar disorder, and I could never get the 2 of those people to talk on the phone, say anything about integrating treatment for me. Integrated treatment works best for people who have dual disorders. Without any integration of services or treatment, I had a very difficult time getting sober. It was only when I found a doctor who treated both disorders at the same time that I was really able to get into stable recovery.
Cecilio, you come to the center twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, to participate in groups about mental illness and substance abuse.
Yes.
And additionally, we see each other to talk about any other problems that you may have where I can be of help. Previously, we were talking about not feeling comfortable where you live. Is that true?
Yes.
What's going on where you live right now?
The same confusions that I always have.
Same confusions. What are they, these same confusions?
That I feel that spirits follow me inside the apartment.
I understand.
Recovery from dual disorders happens in stages. It's a real process. When I first was diagnosed with a substance use disorder, I didn't have any desire to stop drinking.
When I was younger, it was harder to understand. And then about a year, I started understanding my illness, and I started speaking to people about it. And then I kind of said to myself, it's kind of embarrassing just talking to somebody about my illness.
What we'd like to do today is actually an exercise that kind of helps people understand where substances fit into their lives?
Now I'm starting to try to be open up about it because that's helping me out and not getting a relapse again.
And the first set of questions has to do with
The healing process.
how substances, and when I say substances, you know what I mean by that?
Drugs.
Drugs and alcohol. So substance use we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what are the benefits?
When you drink, do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Do you feel the same?
I feel good. I don't feel bad things. Some of those messages, I don't feel them.
What is it that you drink? What kind of alcohol?
Pure rum.
Pure rum. And when you drink, you don't have those ideas?
No, they go away.
I didn't believe it at first. I said to myself, how can alcohol get mixed with your depression? If you drink alcohol, you feel good, you know? How am I going to get depressed if I'm feeling good? The next day, bam, I'm depressed, you know? And right there I said, wow, it's true, you know?
I began to look at what alcohol was doing for me and the problems it was causing.
People wouldn't use substances if it doesn't give you something. And so there are some benefits, and we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the drawbacks, the problems with it.
People who have dual disorders are at an increased risk for many other problems.
17 years out of my life, I've been in prison. 17 years. Today is my birthday. It's the first birthday in 17 years that I have out on the street, out in the world. My first birthday, I'm 34 now. It's a little scary, you know?
My kids.
Your kids. Could you explain what happened with that?
Well, I was doing well about 3 years ago. I got to see him, spend some time with him, and my girl. And after that, the drugs just took me away. And my mother told me if I don't straighten out my life, then it'd be a few years before I get to see my kids again.
And the kids are important. Your kids are important to you.
Yeah, they're real important to me.
It's a hell of a thing because when I come here, I feel good. I've been here every day, every week, just about I come. We talk about a little bit of everything about how I got on drugs and, you know, what made me take drugs and stuff like that, you know. I see, I ain't going on it again. You don't have to worry about me touching a drug again. You know, I don't even think about it no more. You know, and that's been a good while, you know, because I see how it's destroying people. And I'm the type of person, I love everybody. I don't hate nobody. There's not one person on earth that I hate. You know, I love people. And when I can talk to people and feel good with people like that, it makes my day. And if I can do that every day, you imagine how I would feel? But I don't feel that way when I'm on drugs, though.
One time it came to almost committed suicide on crack.
So things got pretty bad.
It was a thrill of the idea of doing it. That's what made it came true. It was a thrill of actually committing suicide.
Okay, so it wasn't feeling so depressed. It was the
no,
idea.
No, depressed. It was just the idea. I never did it before. I was what crack could really do to you.
So one of the drawbacks later when you look back on it is that you may do something that may end your life, cause your death.
Well, my situation was different from that. Either I was gonna kill somebody or somebody was gonna kill me. There was no other way. So the best thing to do was stop. When I first used to come out here with people in recovery, I used to sit out here and throw rocks in the water. Because all they do, two bad feelings was anger and frustration. And that's about my Vegas memory of this place, throwing stones in the water. And other people like, why you doing that? Because I wasn't there where I could appreciate the real beauty of this place. And now I know what they was talking about. It wasn't at peace.
Integrated treatment works best for people who have dual disorders. Once I began to recognize that the negative consequences outweighed the positive consequences, I did stop drinking, and then I had to learn how to stay stopped from drinking. And in the early part of my recovery, there certainly were relapses back into substance use, which is quite common for people with dual disorders.
I have a son who has undergone a process. He's been an addict. He started with marijuana, then cocaine, then crack, and later heroin. That's when he hit bottom. He's been clean for a year here, 5 months there, but then he goes back to it. You know, this is a very difficult problem. It's hard for you to, how do you say it? To accept that you have a family member with this condition. The addiction and the emotional. It's very difficult to accept. It takes time, and you become involved in groups and counseling, and they help you to accept your son's condition.
Don Cecilio, how are you?
I'm fine.
How was your weekend?
Well, my weekend was spent looking for an apartment. There were lots of problems with some of the apartments. The waiting lists were too long, so I wasn't interested. There's church on Sunday. I went to church. And then Monday, I went to Capital Region, and that's how I spent the days.
So you want to move? Are you moving?
Yes. I come to groups twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, to learn how to control substance use, like alcoholism and drugs. And that helps a lot because it's very educational.
Well, the group helped me out a lot and have something to do during the mornings. I never had been clean in Hartford, living in Hartford in my life. And now since I'm trying it, I got a feeling that people are gonna look at me negative, and they're gonna, just like thinking that I'm a wimp or something. Or
what you're talking about, I think, is not only you have felt that, and there are ways to kind of work through that, even here in Hartford. There are ways to do that.
Wherever I go, I have my disease. If I want to use, Hartford ain't got nothing to do with it. If I'm in Cuba and I want to use, Cuba ain't got nothing to do with it. That's my decision.
Yeah, it helped me be assertive towards drug dealers.
Everybody, keep an eye out on those steps, okay? To see how Ray goes through these steps, what you like best. Wow. You guys ready? Begin.
Yo, I got a half of 6. We can go to our park and we can chill. We can get some bras and we can just get the freak on and smoke some crack, weed, a whoopee. Come on, man. We ain't been together in a long time. It's been over 6 months. You've been clean. It's time for you to come back like you used to.
I said no.
But we're gonna have bras there that make you get high just by looking at them.
Ernest, you can come to an
I'm telling you, they smoke crack.
Ernest, stop right now. I mean it. Stop.
No, I can't
stop, Ernest.
Oh, all right. I don't know what you're missing.
Well, I think that depends on whoever approaches me. If they swift enough, if they keen enough, and if they clever enough. And it depends on what mood I'm in that day.
Well, how did it feel for you, Ray?
If it was reality.
How would it be different if it was reality?
I'd probably explain myself more instead of just saying no.
Well, what do you think about that? Would it be better if you just if you explained yourself more or just said no?
Well, since I came here today, I learned just say no faster and quicker.
And you bring up a very, very important point. Why do you think it's important to not get into too much of a dialogue, you know, too much of a conversation. Why do you think that's important?
Because they could break it down.
They do break it down, exactly right.
So what do you say to them now?
I just say no, because I learned that from class.
There is hope for people who are dually diagnosed. Recovery for me has really been a process. For me, it means stability in my mental illness and stability in my substance use problem, abstinence from substance use, and getting a life back.
I remember my last week of using, and it wasn't pretty, and that keep me moving forward. I'll never want to go back there.
I only slipped twice in almost 2 years now, you know, and I don't think I'm going to slip again, and I don't want to.
I just hope that in time that I just heal and get through this easily.
There is hope when you follow up with treatment adequately. If you follow up with your treatment adequately with your therapist about your addiction problems and your emotional problems, you can move forward, and there is hope with this program.
The disease of addiction and the disease of mental illness, they ain't too far. With me, they ain't too far apart, because they both know right when to move in.
You know what I would tell you? Stay strong, man. It ain't the end of the world yet. And if I can do it, you can do it.
You gotta stand up. You gotta get up and pray, and you gotta get going.
Give yourself a chance. Sometimes I look in the mirror and tell myself, you didn't use today. That's good. You didn't harm nobody today. That's good. And I'll have to, sometime when I'm feeling down, I'll do that stuff to remind me of I'm not that bad a person. I like people too. I like being around people, and I like different opinions. My own stuff ain't always right. So I like the conversation. I like women. Hey, like clothes, like shopping, all that stuff. I like just about what everybody else like. Just be in the mainstream of life, in the main flow of life. And I think I'm about there. If I'm not, hey, I still got work to do, but I'm closer than I was.